like you just don't talk about it. You get brought up to keep your mouth shut, bury
Yeah.
whatever's wrong. For me, yapping with you assholes, I don't talk about my problems, not because I'm worried about you guys thinking I'm a puss. It's
Because
like,
talking with us is the problem.
yeah, that's one of the things that it's hard to totally tell you guys that. But
That we're the problem. Welcome to Muttering Pines, the show where us city folk try to cowpoke. We drink beer, talk about ATVs, life outside the city, homesteading, entrepreneurship, and ultimately trying to do stuff with our hands. Cool. Hey guys.
Can I eat Teddy Grahams in the microwave?
Can you eat
in the microphone?
Can you eat Teddy Grahams in the microwave?
Matt, you must now immediately go microwave a Teddy Graham. I must know what happens. I have none of my own to
and
microwave.
Eat it in the microwave.
Yes. Please tell me what happens.
I'll put it in my mouth and turn the microwave on. I'll jiggery it, put my head in there.
There you
my
go.
fillings will vibrate.
Yeah, put your head in the microwave. Oof. Gremlins.
When's the last time you guys had a Teddy Graham? Because these things are just as delicious as they were when I was kids.
Oh yeah. Those are great. Yeah.
Honey cookies.
Yeah.
We couldn't have them in my house. They would just be eaten immediately, probably by me.
Yeah, as of yesterday.
Yeah.
All gone.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers
to
you.
I am drinking a glass of Jack Daniel's Fire. Because fuck it.
Wow.
Where's the rest of the bottle? You gonna pull a mat on us?
Gonna pull a mat.
All right. I'm
goddamn deer.
I'm doing ginger ale tonight.
Ginger ale
for me. Yeah. Canada Dry. None of that Schweppes garbage.
Schweppes. I got some far out Pilsners from my boys out in Turner Valley.
That right there is the best Pilsner. I'm not afraid to say it.
It's really good.
Yeah. I think Pilsner might be one of my favorite beers. Like, obviously, like the brand Pilsner, but just like definitely. Pilsner is like, even like the Superstore Pilsner is good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Right? Like a Pilsner is good. It's fucking good.
But that Pilsner is especially good. It's a special kind of good.
There's math involved in whatever that guy does, and his PhD in rocket science he's done well with it. So good for him. He's actually like a proper doctorate of some. Okay, well, whatever. He's really smart. He has a proper degree, and he turned it into brewing, and he's doing well.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah.
That's weird.
Their whole land story is really cool too. I really like that. You know,
he's going to get bigger.
Farm, their barley, the special batch.
Mm-hmm. Well, tonight our guest is us.
Wait, that's right. Are we talking about men?
We're talking specifically tonight because it is June. Maybe it'll still be June when I actually get this released. But we're talking about mental health in men. So, mostly just from our own perspective, because we have no professionals lined up to talk about this.
So, but it's Men's Mental Health Month, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, according to a internet search I did a long time ago when I planned this one.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you only plan it this morning?
No, this has been in the dog. This is like the one that I've planned for like the longest time, and then did no research on.
Good. Oh.
But I think it's important because of kind of like what we do, right? Like outdoorsy stuff and hunting and talking to bodybuilders and people that make things. And like, I think it's one thing that doesn't get talked about because of the what do you call it? Like the
stigma.
The stigma. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Behind like men not being sensitive, or they don't have a hard life because white men are awful because of woke culture and everything.
Or they don't need it, right?
They don't need it, right?
Yeah, I don't need that.
I don't need help from anybody, or I don't need to talk about my shit.
Your life is so easy. What do you need society's help for?
Yeah, you old white male.
right?
Fun fact,
Silver platter.
fun statistic I did find is that on average, women are more likely to experience mental health conditions and more likely to attempt suicide. That said, men are more than 3.5 times more likely to die from suicide than women.
So they're better at it.
Well, I'd like to think of it like historically, men are just more successful.
Jeez. So
It's because we don't change our minds halfway through a decision.
wow. I did not know the women are more likely to attempt, but men are more successful. So I thought it was only the men were more likely to.
More men die from
I didn't know
suicide.
there's a definition of the final outcome.
And in all seriousness, it is because they choose more lethal alternatives like firearms.
Yeah, right. Hanging.
Hanging.
I did hear that the firearm, the shot to the face, is very frowned upon by the females and, well, splattered upon by the men.
I don't know many stories of women hanging themselves either. So it's like,
no.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a bright,
depressing.
cheery statistic to start it all off with.
Yeah, it's terrible. I agree. I think like life expectancy going down for any group is terrible. It's going down for,
except pedophiles.
Of the population. Yeah, maybe. But I think I think we live in a better time to get help now than we ever have. I think it's more normal to talk about it. I think it's more normal to, tell people that you're doing it. It's more normal to take time to do it, and so that, I think that's good. I think the success of male suicide continuing to increase, though, is really alarming. And so, I think there are other sides to, the lethality of men killing themselves than just their access to mental health, right? Like gun control is part of this. And, safety in general is part of this. Training with firearms is a huge part of it, right? Safe storage is a big part of it. So, and those are all things we have to do because we're all firearms owners. We're all men. We all have like reasonable professional success, which is an indicator for stress, which is a top line reason for men to consider suicide in the first place. So there's dozens and dozens of reasons that we have to be just slightly more careful than our friends that don't own firearms, that don't operate equipment, that don't have to transport substances into the woods and then figure out a safe way to consume them, and still, be able to enjoy themselves. Like it's dangerous. What we do is dangerous.
Yeah. But yeah. And like, not even in talking about like the extreme, like the suicide and stuff, but I mean, just suffering in general of quietly. I can't remember who it was. It was a comedian. I feel like it might have been Bill Burr, but I don't think it was. But basically it was like, no, it was Mark Maron, actually. It was like any guy, has some sort of physical ailment that they are just, when you say like, oh, how you doing? Oh yeah, I'm great. That's a total lie, because there's something where it's like, oh, I don't know why my poop was red this morning. Just going to ignore that and not talk about that. And that'll just go away on its own. And I'm not going to tell people about why my asshole blistered all of a sudden. That's just, that'll go away. And then
just swallow it and go on to the next problem.
Yeah. And the same thing happens with like mental strain too, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I think, but like,
so Bill Burr
9 times out of 10, not fine.
Bill Burr did do a skit up based on it. He's like, how are you? It's like, I'm fine. It's like, even if you're not fine, you're fine. And you just bear and go on with it. It's like, doesn't matter how bad shit goes, you're fine, because dwelling on it doesn't make it any better. Hence
Yeah, and you don't want to talk
the whole
about it, and you
problem.
don't want to talk about it with other people for whatever reason. Burden, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
showing weakness is one, but like for me, yabbing with you assholes, I don't I don't talk about my problems, not because I'm worried about you guys thinking I'm a puss. It's
Because
like, oh
talking with
no,
us is the problem.
yeah, that's one of the things, and it's hard to totally tell you guys that, but I'm
That
glad we're getting it out
we're the
there.
problem.
Yeah, but it's like you just don't talk about it. You get brought up to keep your mouth shut, bury
Yeah.
whatever's wrong, and like you're gonna get through it maybe, and it's nobody else's problem.
You're going to
I
get through it,
frequently,
says the firearms owner.
yeah,
Well, this is
I
my point, by the way.
frequently talk about it.
More means,
Mhm.
the more opportunity, you know.
But I think we do talk about it, though.
Sure.
I talk about it on a semi-daily basis of like I just want to slip a noose around my neck and jump off the roof, because most of the time
No, I
that's
think
how I
Darren
feel,
meant
but like
we
I
talk
just
about
don't
our
do it.
problems. We don't externalize our suicidal wishes, man. We talk
Oh.
about the things that are bugging us at home.
Well,
You,
this
you
is
start
awkward
with
then.
that, and then it leads into the problems.
In fairness, I don't feel like I've ever had a time where I don't have somebody to talk to, especially with you two.
Mm,
Like it's
that's fair.
and that's a lot of times why there's a lot of humor involved in it too. That's how I deal with stuff. But like a lot of times that's how our conversations start. It's, wait, how are you doing? Oh, yeah, I was in my garage and I was looking at my vise and I was thinking, I wonder if my whole head could fit in there, and I wonder if I could actually squeeze it until I was gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, Darren, how are things?
Well, I'll
is
tell you,
opening
it
line.
doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tried.
exactly. This is my point, is that between the three of us, and there's some others too, like Alan, who was on the show once, and yeah,
Shout out
once.
to Alan for
Then he
coming out.
died
Shout out.
on
Yeah,
the
and then he
trip
died twice.
twice.
2 times he died. Yeah. I feel like I have that with you guys. I have that with a few friends. Like, I don't feel like I've ever had isolation from it, and so I feel lucky in that sense. But I don't think that everybody has that, and I think some people that do have that don't use it.
Yeah, and I think for me anyway, with us, I think like you said, we joke about it, and Matt, you're right. Like, it's fine. Like, let's get through it. Not a big deal. But like, we talk about it, and we're like, so like, is everything good? Like, yeah. Like, it's all good. But if it ever came up where it was like, I don't know, I honestly don't know if it's gonna be good,
Right.
then instantly, I know the two of you guys would be like, see you in 20 minutes.
Right. Exactly. That's it. There's the cry for wolf when we make some crack about like sitting in the garage with a tailpipe or whatever. It is so fucking loud that there's no way you could mistake the real thing.
Mm.
Like, it's obvious when something's actually wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
And I know
I don't feel like I have to hide it though. That's my point. Like, I don't feel like I have to.
Well, see,
keep
because
it
you're
behind closed doors.
you're a happy person. If you weren't a happy person, you might feel like you have to hide it.
Yeah. It's a bitch being happy. Ooh, it's lonely.
it's
Well,
miserable. It's
there's
depressing.
people out there that are legitimately like that. So, more introverted, don't want to bug people anymore, even if they're your close friends. It's like you just
Sure.
you just keep it to yourself, no matter what. Like, literally, no matter what. I know a couple peoples who their husbands committed suicide, and they came home and they had no idea. And just one day they're just hanging from the rafters or sitting in the car. There's 2 instances.
Jeez.
And it's just like, holy shit, you had no idea. And one day it just snaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know stories like that. I've definitely heard stories like that. Yeah. I have a friend. I'm not going to name him because that'd be a terrible thing to do. But I have a friend that is the kind that keeps things to himself and just gets through them. And he's an astonishingly successful person. So however he deals with his problems works for him. So I can't judge him on this. But
So
I'm
Darren,
not
he's not
kidding
talking
you.
about us.
Like, I've known this guy
said
for
astonishingly successful.
yeah. I've known this guy for much longer than I've known the two of you, even. And he somebody close in his family was involved in something so seriously criminal, I'm surprised it wasn't a headline. And I didn't know for 14 years. That was how long he didn't tell me about it. This was a person I saw every day, every fucking day for most of a decade. Like,
so he's really good.
There are people that are like that, Matt, that you're talking about, you know?
Is it your dad?
It's not my dad. My yeah, my dad.
You said like
on
involved
a
in
road
criminal
crew in fucking Rimby right now. Like, I don't know how to explain my dad to the listeners. The 80-year-old road crew guy in
Wilfred Brimley on an excavator.
He is. Yeah, you're right. Actually, he did find the cocoon. I think, that old geezer. Yeah.
He found the cocoon inside of a caterpillar, and he's just been the happiest guy since. So
he's so happy. He's up there today at the cabin because they got rained off the job, and so I get it on the trail cam. He goes by on the quad. He calls it a pleasure ride on the quad. But before he went on the quad pleasure ride, of course, he took the cat down to the corral and just like cleaned up posts and wire and stuff. And so the old corral is gone and has been completely now replaced with like a engineered beam built corral out of stuff that Richard brought from his full-time job in like working on those engineered beam things. So yeah, my dad's having the time of his life up there. He drives a cat when he's like not at work, and then he drives a truck when he's actually at work. It's the best. You saw a bank get knocked over by a hoe. Like, are you kidding me? Guys having
not
the time
a good
of his
hoe,
life.
a bad hoe.
Yeah, like a machine, not Candace.
Definitely Candace. Oh, Candace
Tammy, was in there.
Tanya,
Desiree.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
Desiree.
Is there budget in your property for a skid steer for your old man? Because, you know, like a skid steer is like a glorified wheelchair. It's going to keep him going for the next 20 years.
Yeah, I'll just put an IV in the thing. He'll never get out of it.
That's the solution for mental health.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, we should bring
Money,
it back around to
right?
that. Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
But like, in
I can
seriousness,
tell you how my dad deals with stuff. My dad deals with it through work. He is like the definitive Calvinist. So if you don't know what that is, Google it. But just know that it is like where you find all things through work, happiness, fulfillment, everything through work. That's my dad in a nutshell.
I thought it was where you find all things significantly colder.
Why is that, Darren?
Because the Kelvin scale.
Oh,
or is it hotter?
God.
I might have fucked that joke up.
It's a fucking physics joke.
Kelvin's a measure of temperature, so
yeah,
I like it.
So your old man measures his happiness or deals with his happiness based on work.
Yeah,
which is
dad deals with it based on booze.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like the four main causes of like, especially in men, I think in anyone of mental health issues is stress at work, stress at home, so like relationships, kids, all that kind of stuff. Your physical health, like your physical health, and substance abuse.
What?
Scott pulls out some weed. We're sipping on
Darren's
booze.
talking. I'm going to prepare my one hitter while Darren's talking. I did not expect it to be such an excellent punchline.
So it's interesting that, Scott, your dad deals with it through work, which is a known cause.
Yeah, well, I think so, but I think of it this way, though.
You bury yourself.
The only work that he does it through is physical, right? It's not like he like hops behind a desk and whips up something in Photoshop. Like when my dad goes and works, it involves activity, and so it's exercise. Like how he deals with everything through work is it's part exercise, and then it keeps him sharp. He's a good problem solver, and then it also makes him feel useful. And for my dad, that is the thing he was raised to believe is most important. He believes that being useful is the most important possible thing you can be, and so he's easily finds that because he's a very capable old guy. You know, the worst day of my dad's life is going to be when he can't do that stuff anymore. And I could promise you, he's just going to drop dead. The minute he can't do it, he'll just drop dead. And he'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as these become a burden, he'll just go away.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He won't. Yeah, he's.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Matt, you said your
really
dad
cool.
deals with it through substance abuse.
Well, he doesn't consider it abuse. He just considers
but
it like
it is. And it's the same way my dad dealt with it too, right? You just drink it away.
It just goes away. Oh, I feel stressed. Oh, this is that, and sit and pour yourself a couple toddies, and the alcoholic lifestyle, the booze, and the how it affects your life and forms your life. Like I'm cautious with my life because I like liquor, I like beer, I like everything mostly about it except the social problems it can cause, and so I'm cautious with it. But
it's the best Simpsons joke, right? The best Simpsons joke, in my opinion, is beer, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get into that particular issue in my life, and I could totally understand how it could become a problem. Like, hey, it's great now. It's like I feel shitty. I'm gonna have a couple beers. I feel great. I'm gonna have a couple beers, and you cautious tiptoe around that problem. It's like, do I want this or do I need it? And I'm always
we think of it
continuously ask myself that.
Yeah, that's just it, Matt, is typically you think of alcoholism as hereditary. So, but you clearly recognize the problems of it and how to avoid it. So how are you adjusted in a way that you're able to reason your way through it and not fall into the same trap as your dad?
I have several instances in my life where alcohol has ruined things. Not wanting that to be me is the reason that I'm earthed by that. It's not letting it go and having your life fall apart around you is that's how I deal with it. I could totally understand both sides of it. It could be totally sober or totally drunk, but I happen to enjoy it. I just don't want to be that person that I'm thinking of.
Well, fuck, we're gonna have to cut this part of the show, bud. We're gonna have to cut it because this is a show about not learning things, and it's clear that you've learned something.
So, no. So the thing is, I'm not learning, and I'm still drinking. If I had learned anything, I would have probably just abstained from alcohol from my previous experiences. So, like, that's where I am. That's
good. Good
scares me about this stuff.
But you're I don't want to say cognizant, but you're actively cognizant about it. Like, it's not like, oh, I know it's a problem, but it is a problem. You're like, I know it's a problem, so I'm not going to let it be one. And then you end it.
Yeah.
I saw a headline today that all the restaurants are getting prepped for 8 a.m. Booze sales because Stampede's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're fine with it because they're going to charge $10.50 for a Budweiser or some fucking awful price.
Did you say $10.50? Because that would be, yeah.
$10 for a shot, an ounce. $10 an ounce for Budweiser.
What's interesting is the society or the city will let that go because it's such a financial moneymaker. They will put people's the reason that you don't serve before 10 or 11 is for that health aspect that is legit or not, but there's a background history to it. And then because of Stampede, because they're like, oh, people just want to have fun, so they'll serve at 8 in the morning. Like
they did the same thing for World Cup. They lifted restrictions so pubs could open at 7 or whatever to watch the games over.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
So what kind of rodeo is going on at 8 in the morning?
Probably the same one you started last night.
Yeah,
it's going to be so you can have pancake breakfast and like booze.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not against it. I just think it's interesting the moral tweak that they do, where they're like they're going to allow it for certain events but not for others because it's bad for most of the time. But we're going to allow it because people want it for this. And like, so well, either let it happen or don't.
What did you think about it when they allowed it in parks during COVID then?
Perfect.
And that's
'Cause
still
But
allowed
you
too.
should, like,
I'm
certain parks. Yeah.
Right. Certain spots in certain parks, right?
I'm
Yeah.
not anti-alcohol in public. I think it's a ridiculous thing. You can only have alcohol in behind a cage or in your home or whatever it is, and unless you're going to be an idiot with it, then whatever.
I think it kind of makes it all more insidious when we treat it like that, right?
Well, if you're going to be an idiot about it, you're going to be an idiot anyway. You're not
Right.
going to give a fuck about the
Yeah.
law,
Yeah, I
and you're
won't
just
walk
going
down
to
the
do it.
street with a can
Yeah.
of Budweiser. I'll walk down the street with uh, a Go mug full of Ryan Coke or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's happening
Sure.
anyways.
I
Well,
went to Canadian Tire last weekend, and I pull into the parking lot, and the guys in front of me had just come out of Canadian Tire, obviously, or were just going in. They were standing and talking by their car, having a beer in the parking lot.
Yep.
I was like, that's interesting. Because one,
Unique place to have one. Yeah.
Canadian Tire parking lot wouldn't be my first choice. Maybe
right.
you're talking about like gardening because the garden center's there.
Yeah.
It's a stretch. Two, you're in a parking lot, so somebody is driving out of there. Publicly, that's not a good look. You didn't walk to the, there's no sidewalks to this Canadian Tire. You're standing by your open car with an open beer.
Yep.
Ballsy,
It's
but also Alberta.
it's choices, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, aside from booze and drugs, Scott, my question for you guys is when you get into the murky waters of mental health issues, because we all have them, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to get out of it, to escape,
Oh.
to get relief?
Oh, that's the property and all of that whole side of my life is that. It's just there to make sure I have an outlet. And it's not some stereotypical like rage outlet or anything. It's interesting and it's fun and I like, crashing through the trees with a lawnmower like a dummy, and I like making little spots for the families to have creekside picnics, and it's Minecraft in real life, and I love that. I love our spring trip because we get away and see shit that we don't see, and we like and frankly overcome shit that we wouldn't normally overcome. Like you hacking apart that log this year was really something. I thought about that a lot afterwards, and
It sure
so
was something.
yeah, and
Something.
yeah,
And a
yeah,
dull axe and a dull saw.
yeah, and then later a
Followed by a
nearly
dull
broken
mind.
shoulder, and somehow miraculously barely a flesh wound. But anyway,
That was dicey, man.
yeah, it was.
You,
I thought for
but,
sure I was going to be sucking blood out of my lungs.
But this was my
That
point
one.
earlier.
you're
Is
just lucky you have two eyes.
like
So
the things that we do to keep ourselves straight are legitimately dangerous things. You can't do them if you're in a seriously bad place, because anything we're doing is just too easy to turn the wrong way at any second. Like think even about just like the ridges that we were driving the quads across in a couple of spots this year were really sheer drops. And so, that is the outdoor stuff. That's how I unwind, and that's the stuff that I look forward to. And it's, the reason that I don't overreact to a situation is because I know I have that trip next year in April that I want to go and do, and I don't want to make some dumb mistake that's going to prevent me from being able to go on that. It's the reason I go stretch in the morning, is so like when I get up, there I can hop on the back of a tailgate and walk further than 8 feet from my camp chair. So, like it's seriously, that's the reason. Yeah. It's the reason I chose teeth.
wow, that's not poignant at all.
Jab. Yeah, that's fair. Matt, what do you do?
Honestly, I crutch on alcohol quite a bit. Come home, have a couple beers. when that's not based on timing, then I'll head out to the farm and completely separate myself from my life.
Same shit. Keep him busy outside.
I hate being at home now. Hate it. It's to the point where I don't even know why I live here, because it's just like I don't want to be around my house because that's life. It's just work for the sake of work. And it's like if I go to the farm, it's more like play. Just do whatever, and I do not interact with my outside life when I'm there. I just
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's like that line from that Corb Lund song, the S Lazy H, where he said his work is his play.
Does he say that? Okay.
Yeah. Where it's like, I got shit to do. Like I have legit chores. Same with me. Like when I'm like this weekend when we go out, I got shit to do. Like stuff most people are like, fuck, you gotta install a sink and mow the lawn and all this. Fun. I'm like, I can't wait to install a sink out there. I can't wait to get on the mower with a beer and mow the lawn and cut trails.
Mow the forest, for God's sake.
Mow the forest. What's
that? Was that, Matt?
You get to, not you have to.
Yeah.
That's right. That's truly
exactly
the difference.
Yeah. I like to keep busy, and that's
one of my favorite first experiences going to the farm was mowing the grass. And I mowed it for 3 or 4 hours. I'd do a pass, swing by, grab a beer. By the time I was done, I was fucking half cut. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. Because I don't have a riding lawnmower at home. But man, when you can sit down and mow and drive equipment and fuck around and have a beer in your hand, what a difference.
I'm hoping I get to do that this weekend. Usually I've got a kid on my lap because all he wants to do is ride the tractor.
Yeah.
So I don't get to drink my beer while I mow the lawn.
You got to hold one precious thing, not the other.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like that in fishing, right? Where you're not doing much.
You're doing
and
everything.
you feel fine just having a beer after.
Yeah.
It's a good. I think it's because you're doing something monotonous too, right? Like it's meditative.
Yeah, that's why I go on the walks here in the city, for sure. It's because it's just the repetitive motion of feet and hands totally unlocks your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mowing the forest thing is so much fun, and it's a ridiculous amount of fun for how difficult it is. Because we're talking, and your mower is the same way. We're talking about a regular push mower, a gas push mower that we're pushing through recently moved debris forest, like long grass and stumps and twigs on game trails through the woods, and it's hot and sweaty and dusty and it's spitting shit everywhere. And I cannot wait to do it. At all times I'm thinking about the next time I get to go mow the forest so I can have great hiking.
Be uncomfortable. Yeah.
I'm covered in bug bites when I get back, no matter how much bug spray I have from doing this, and they're irritating, and still I cannot wait to get back out there.
A little bit of Lyme disease when you come home.
Yeah. What's a little bit of Lyme disease when you've got a trail like a goddamn Roman emperor down to the creek?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you putting your harrows back together this weekend there, Mr. Northcott?
I'm going to do one. Yeah, I think I got enough cement to do one tire. And I'm going to do your idea.
The current concreted harrows?
Yeah, they're garbage.
Oh, that's too bad.
Matt had a good idea of putting in a circular board inside the tire as a base, and then mix the concrete and pour it in. So it's like it's like a curling puck, basically.
Yes, what a good idea.
Yeah, nice. So I'm going to do that. I only got enough cement for the one, but that'll be. If that doesn't work, I'll just tie the mower to the back of the quad again and just drive the trails.
That's fair. Yeah. I went over with my wife dragging that trailer up.
Yeah.
And she's not all for it, but she's going to do it. So yeah, there's 3 quads coming up. It's going to be good.
That weekend is going to keep the oil and gas industry in Alberta alive.
Yeah.
Alone, just on fuel for quads.
We are going to have so much push down trail. It's going to be amazing.
So yeah, getting outside and doing stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like, I
getting
think,
outside and doing stuff.
but for us, like that's, I think you'd be daft if you thought it was
Oh.
anything different, right? But
And I think the thing is I can do it either up there by myself, out there by myself, just with you two, or with my family, you know, or with all of our families. All the same effect for me. Like just a terrific experience all around. Different experiences, sure, but I'll take any one of them anytime. You know, like they're just, it's a wonderful thing to share with anybody or do by yourself. And that, I don't think you can really get that in any other activity.
no,
Like the outdoors
fresh
is
air
special that way.
does wonders for everything. But even like, you know who I think about a lot lately when I think about like the mental health thing is our guest, Jay Nickel, the mindful hunter.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He
Because
dealt with a lot of what we're talking about.
he dealt with a lot, and his thing is like he just sets a goal and he's got to achieve that goal, and it's all or nothing. It's like he's got that drive, which I think really helps, because without that drive, like if you don't have something that you're kind of passionate about, like we like the outdoors and the farm and ATVing and stuff like that, like
I don't even think it has to be passionate. I just think it needs to be something to look forward to.
so
Anything to
same
look
thing.
forward to. Yeah.
If you don't have that and you don't have the drive, then I think that's where you start to wonder if it's all worth it, right?
Mm-hmm. I watched the Schwarzenegger documentary on Netflix, and Schwarzenegger said the same thing Nichols said. The exact same thing. They you know, same point of view, those guys. And not unironically, Nichols, successful competition bodybuilder right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not driven like that. I'm just not that guy. But I do always have a thing to look forward to. And I do always think about what's between me and it, whether it's time or a decision or a thing I'm buying or not buying or whatever it is. I'm always thinking about it. And without it, you know, I wouldn't have that kind of guide. And so yeah, that's really important, having that goal.
And Matt, I think you're very driven, I feel.
I'm pushed. Driven? I don't know.
Yeah, like you get something in your head and you're like, I gotta fucking do this. Right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna build a
Future.
shooter, and you're like, well, I've built 3.
There's
Or
tweaks. Yeah, there's certain tweaks in my head that push me. There's certain tweaks in my head that guide me. And then when I'm pushed, if this sounds right, if I'm pushed in my own head, I'll complete it without any hesitation. And if I'm guided, I will find, if it's going to be the right path, I'll finish it. And if it's like, no, you know, this is kind of dumb, and then you just pause and you just go on. So like, I'm not obsessive about the goal. If I find something I truly think will work, yeah, there's very little to stop me. And if it's like I start hitting roadblocks in between, I had this. It sounds really stupid, but I have this saying in my head: if it's too hard, it's not worth it. And that's not the way it comes off, but it's like in my head, if it's like, if things line up and it's like A, B, C, D, it's like, this is working and this is great.
Yeah.
And I proceed down that path, no problem. But if it's like A goes to Z and then goes back to B, and it's just like, this is fucking dumb. Like I need to like reevaluate what's going on. And so
right.
a lot
you
of
take a step back and reevaluate. That's important.
I don't. Yeah.
You like to refine too, though, right?
I really, yeah. When I have something in my head that doesn't work the way I want it to the first time,
you got to fix it.
I can't sleep. I think about it constantly, and it drives me fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Until
my dad
I can either find the solution, or it's like I come to that realization where it's like, no, you know what? This is the wrong path. Stop.
Yeah.
Figure this out.
Matt, the last time we were at your farm and we were loading up the quad and you were helping us like get it in there so it wasn't like bumping up against the back of the truck and stuff. We were like tying it down. We got in the truck, my dad and I, afterwards, and we were driving away. As soon as I got in the truck, my dad goes, "That Matt has a lot of know-how, eh?" That Matt has a lot of know-how, eh? That's like the nicest fucking thing I've ever
that's
heard
coming
him say
from
about anybody in my life. And I
That's
was
coming
like, oh,
from
look at
Mr.
that.
Know-how himself, the guy
Yeah,
who's
it
done
was.
it and said it.
Yeah, it was. I
Yeah,
was like, oh fuck, Matt's
that's
gonna like it when he hears about this one.
yeah. That
Yeah,
makes me feel
Matt does
happy.
have
Thank you.
know-how.
Matt does have know-how. You have a lot of know-how. I can see why you're a process guy like that. You know, where you're just like, hey, I wonder how this works, and just getting into it. I could see that because shit, man.
Every time I have an idea and I'm like, I think this and this and this, I think it's gonna work. My wife's like, "Did you ask Matt?"
Shit.
Yeah.
No.
Don't ask
Why
Matt.
not? You're right. I probably should. And then I ask you, and you're like, "Yeah, but this." I'm like, "Oh,
Sorry, buddy.
no, man. Sorry, you're constantly getting calls like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah," and then nothing. And then I'm like, "Oh, great, you liked it." And then like the next day, I'm like, "Okay, but also this," and I've done the math, and if you reduce it by like a quarter inch, it'll be a lot lighter. And you know, we could probably just weld it tomorrow. Fuck. I'm talking about wood, Matt. We're not welding wood.
Is this you're talking about your fence gates, right? Yeah, because that's how that started. What
Yeah,
do you think about building a gate that like what were they like 12-foot spans or something like that? Two 12-foot spans out of
yeah.
wood. I'm like, yeah, it'll work. And then I sat down at work and just drew it all up. It's like, nope, for $120 we can get the material, we can weld it up tonight. And
I've already got it, and I've grabbed it from the shop.
yeah, material's coming tomorrow.
But you see, like that kind of like drive. Well, though that's not true, I guess, because you have like musicians that you think would be like really driven, and they've bit the bullet, so to speak.
Kevin Shields from My Bloody Valentine. So he makes a seminal album in 1989 called Loveless. And then they do nothing until like the very late 90s or maybe early 2000s. And he's asked about it by magazines over and over and over and over again. And he keeps answering the same thing. He's like, look, I'm not like some savant that just like has music pour out of him. One day an album's worth of stuff's going to come out, and until then you're just going to have to wait while I read this magazine. And it was like, I was like, wow, what an honest guy. I really love that about him. Like, you know, for somebody who had made something that, you know, was so inspirational to so many other musicians, to be like, look guys, like I know you love that thing, but that took me for fucking ever. Like, so yeah, I'll see you when I see you.
That's not what I meant, though.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that.
No, that's fine. Listen
See
better
you when
next
I see
time.
you.
No, what I meant was like having the drive to kind of get through, any mental health issues you're having is not necessarily true, because you have driven musicians like the guy from Linkin Park. Was it Chet? Is it Chet?
Oh, not Durst. No. I
No,
can't remember. Yeah, I know the guy you mean. We're gonna have to look.
Anyway, him and fuck, I'm drawing a blank. Like the guy with the best voice ever. From
wait, the guy with the best
Cornell,
voice
Chris
Mike
Cornell.
Patton. Oh no,
Chris.
it's Mike Patton, not Chris Cornell. But go
Yeah, well,
on.
Chris Cornell is gone. That's who I'm talking about.
Oh,
But he was like a super driven guy, and was quietly suffering, and now we no longer get music from him.
Gone. Yeah.
So
Norm Macdonald, the Canadian comedian, Saturday Night Live Weekend Update host, same thing. Like just told no one, and then just one day died of cancer, and posthumously put out this weird thing where he did stand up with an audience in front of a camera like we are now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, same kind of guy.
So I guess the point is, like, no matter how driven you think you are, I think you need to have an outlet for your, whether that's escaping or talking to someone.
Yeah.
Or do both at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Or find something that's all three plus exercise, like we all
exercise is
have,
a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think the outdoors are, again, special because they can give you everything. They can give you solitude. They can give you physical activity. They can give you togetherness with other people, family and friends. They can challenge you and put you in danger. Like all of that is possible there, and it's like right outside. It's super easy and it's beautiful.
And if you don't do it, you're missing out. So there's a whole other reason
Yes.
not to grab that gun out of the vault. And if you don't have anyone to talk to,
Yeah.
I don't know. Call
There
us. Leave something in the comments. We'll respond.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Darren will respond.
I'll respond.
Yeah.
I had nothing else to do.
Matt and I will text answers to Darren, and Darren will post them. Is probably the thing that'll happen, because apparently Matt and I are geezers that do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you guys do for COVID? So during COVID, when everything shut down, sucked. It just sucked, right?
I loved COVID.
And there was
fucking best.
There were great things. It refined my life to the point where it was a new awakening, but it did it because of certain things. So I think about if those certain things had not have come to fruition, what would have COVID done to me mentally? And I think it would have crushed me.
If you only had like a 400 square foot apartment.
Yep.
Lived in a shitty like Bosnian city or something where there's no good pathways or nothing to do. Yeah, it would have been like jail.
2 kids locked in doing homeschooling, 2 adults working from home in a place you can't leave. I was lucky enough to have the farm. That's when it came in, and it guaranteed saved my sanity. What about you, Darren?
Yeah, I think like we bought our place mid to late COVID, but like luckily we have a very sizable backyard, and our backyard saved us because we would just be outside. Even in the winter, just build snow ramps. We got pathways. There's not a lot of people out there on the path, so we just go for walks anyway.
God, what that was like when nobody was around and nobody doing things.
Oh man, like now there's like cars on top of cars in the parking lot. They're double deckering somehow. I don't get it. But yeah, there was nobody. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And we got to like focus on shit like, oh, let's make a really nice yard. Like we expanded our yard, if that's a thing. It is a thing. We did it. And that was something I never would have done because everyone was like, even you, Matt, you were like, why don't you make this your parking pad more yard? And I'm like, fuck no. And then during COVID, I'm like, fuck yeah.
More grass, more fire,
more space. Let's just get more space.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was good. But if we didn't have what we have, and we didn't have the neighbors that we had because we got locked down with Alan,
right
at the beginning, like they came back from Mexico the day everything got locked down, and I was at their house dropping off groceries and having a beer, and like the next morning they're like, if you've quarantined for 14 days, if you've been in contact with anyone outside the country, and everything's shut down. And I was like, well, fuck. I guess we're in it. So we were just kind of like had a little bit of a community, which was nice.
The community was a big thing for me, having at the time a close group of neighbors that you could just like we openly decided to like say fuck the rules and just like, if we're gonna do this quarantine shit, we'll just do it together and then be done. And so that was a big sanity break. I liked my old house. I hated my old neighborhood. It was awful. And I can't say how many times I'm thankful for where I am and what I got to live through. Yeah.
Yeah. No real insights there though, eh?
No. No. So,
but no,
be lucky and have a good group of friends, a good group of neighbors.
Yeah. And if you don't have those people, go find them. They're out there. Like Tinder. I don't know. Get on, do something. Meet people, because the people are going to be unless you're like a total loner that just wants to live in the woods, then you're not at risk of suicide anyway. So you're totally fine.
Well, then you were playing with video games anyway, and you didn't even know COVID happened.
Yeah, that, or you're out building a cabin by yourself in the woods and you don't give a fuck.
Well,
So
like Ted
it's-
Kaczynski, who just recently perished.
Like the Unabomber?
Unabomber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just died recently.
About time, eh?
Yeah, he wasn't high up on my list of people I wanted to live.
No. But yeah, get outside and get friends like we have.
Do you guys think Ted
Not
Kaczynski
us. We're not
had
into
mental
new
health
friends,
issues?
but get friends like us.
Do you think Ted Kaczynski had mental health issues? Yes.
So you're saying-
Yes, I do.
I think he wrote the book.
I'm sorry, that
think
joke
he-
popped into my head, and for some reason, it was like the ghost of Norm Macdonald jumped into my head there.
Do you think Ted Kaczynski had mental health issues? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. You got to say it like Norm Macdonald would.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember? Because it's been a while since we recorded, but our last one we did with Dell. We did that rapid fire session.
Matt doesn't remember that one.
Oh, I do. I just don't.
But yeah, it was like this or that, this or that.
Yeah.
I thought it went really well. Yeah. I've done one for each of you for this episode.
I fucking hate you. Okay, let's do it.
Good. Scott's first.
Let's do it, and then I'm out. I'm out
Yeah.
after that.
All right, Scott. Video games or movies?
Movies.
Inside or outside?
Outside.
Beer or whiskey?
Whiskey.
Indica or sativa?
Hybrid.
Nope. Indica or sativa.
Sativa.
Can-Am or Yamaha?
Can-Am.
Steel or husky?
Steel.
Digital or analog?
Analog.
Marketing or farming?
Farming.
You're destined to be poor, eh?
All
all
the
those
things.
answers are what make you poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
And all
Okay,
these
Matt.
life choices have made of rich. What's up?
Mead or wine?
Mead.
Whiskey or rum?
Rum.
Kawasaki or Bombardier?
Bombardier.
Bombardier. Ford or Dodge?
Oh. Pass.
No, Ford.
No, you can't pass. If I can't say hybrid, you can't fucking pass.
Oh, 'cause she's going to be Ford
Yeah. Steel or
Holy
husky?
Shit.
still.
This is going to be our most watched episode.
This is a revelation.
Yeah,
You said steel?
I did. Yeah.
Wood or metal?
Metal.
Ranch
Oh.
or cabin?
Oh. Proper ranch or just like play ranch?
Sure, like hobby farm / like proper ranch, or just like a cabin.
Proper ranch.
Whoa, yes.
Proper ranch.
Ready for the last one? It's a doozy.
You like to be poor too. Fuck you, Matt.
Last one's a doozy.
All right.
Dead or alive?
DOA. Yeah. So I'm going to be poor and dead. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I like that.
There you go.
Oh, the dead poor.
The truck
dead
one,
poor.
the Dodge
Darren
and Ford
Northcott.
got me.
That was wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to
Cool.
go watch the end of Terminator 2. This is a
Well.
really fun episode to do. It was good to
Yeah.
chat with you guys just generally.
All right. Well, see you guys next time. And for now, Matt,
Keep on chooching.
keep on chooching. Don't fucking kill yourself. Talk to somebody.
Bye.
Bye.
Great advice, Darren.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hey, nobody. Don't forget to check out mutteringpines.com for our line of apparel and follow us on social and anywhere you listen to or watch your favorite podcasts. And remember, keep on chooching.